The story unfolds with Princess Irulan Carino documenting the brutal attack on House Atreides by the Harkonnens, ordered by her father, Emperor Shaddam IV. She ponders the conflicting nature of her father's actions, considering how he once viewed Duke Leto Atreides as a son. Despite the devastation, Irulan suspects that not all Atreides have been wiped out. As she contemplates the implications of House Atreides' downfall for Arrakis, the narrative transitions to Paul Atreides and Lady Jessica, seeking refuge with the Fremen in their desert journey to Sietch Tabr. Faced with Harkonnen scouts, the group led by Stilgar skillfully outmaneuvers and eliminates the threat, leaving the bodies as a macabre offering to Shai-Hulud, the giant sandworm. Upon their arrival at the Sietch, Paul and Jessica face hostility from the Fremen, who view them with suspicion and anger. Stilgar, however, steps in to convince the Fremen Council that Paul and Jessica can be allies. Privately, Stilgar reveals to Jessica that their Reverend Mother is dying and asks her to take her place. Jessica, along with other Bene Gesserit, learns she must consume the water of life, a deadly substance for men. Despite realizing Jessica's pregnancy too late, she drinks the water and begins convulsing, causing fear among the onlookers.
If you enjoy our content, please support us by subscribing or liking, so we can recap more films for you.
After some time, Jessica overcomes the poison and inherits the memories of her ancestors, with her daughter also beginning to communicate with her. They engage in a dialogue about spreading the prophecy among the people in northern Arrakis, targeting those they perceive as vulnerable. Meanwhile, Paul endeavors to grow closer to Chani while overhearing her discussion with her friend Shishakli about their doubts regarding the prophecy's validity. Subsequently, the Fremen come across a Harkonnen scouting tank, prompting an intense confrontation. In the heat of battle, Paul assists Chani by creating an opportunity for her to pierce the shield of an attacking ornithopter, ultimately leading to its destruction. Following the skirmish, as the Fremen salvage water from the fallen scouts, Paul shares with Stilgar and the others that he is not fixated on being seen as the Lisan al-Gaib, but rather desires to fight alongside them. His sincerity earns him more respect and deepens his bond with the Fremen. Paul and Chani eventually find themselves sitting on a hill, gazing at the magnificent landscape while witnessing the mesmerizing sight of spice flowing across the vast desert sands. In this serene moment, their bond strengthens, and they give in to the depth of their romantic emotions, sealing it with a kiss. As time unfolds, Paul immerses himself in intense training among the Fremen, honing his skills to become a powerful Fedaykin warrior alongside Chani. Gradually, he earns the respect and trust of the Fremen community, embracing the warrior moniker Muad'Dib in honor of the resilient kangaroo mice endemic to the desert and a renowned Fremen fighter. Amidst this transformation, haunting visions plague Paul's psyche, showcasing prophetic scenes of him trailing a mysterious figure, later revealed to be his mother Jessica, journeying southward amidst a grim landscape scattered with lifeless bodies. These visions foretell a gruesome holy war that Paul fears will befall the land, should he take up the mantle of the legendary Lisan al-Gaib. Paul then takes on a significant test among the Fremen by riding a sandworm. He descends to a lower area of the dunes amidst the watching Fremen. Setting the device to call Shai-Hulud, the giant sandworm, Paul waits for the creature to approach. Timing his move perfectly as the worm passes a mound, he leaps onto it and after a brief struggle manages to secure his position, riding the sandworm successfully. This feat earns him thunderous cheers from the gathered freemen. Meanwhile, Jessica embarks on a journey to southern Arrakis with the purpose of sharing the prophecy with the devout believers in the region. Though she wishes for Paul to accompany her, he believes that their actions may be raising false hopes among the people. Paul expresses his reluctance to join her, fearing that his involvement could potentially lead to the realization of his own prophetic visions. On the planet Giedi Prime, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, played by Stellan Skarsgård, is back on his homeworld where a celebration is taking place for his youngest nephew, Feyd-Rautha, portrayed by Austin Butler. Feyd is the brother of Rabban, played by Dave Bautista. The event is attended by other notable figures such as Reverend Mother Moyam, Charlotte Rampling, and Bene Gesserit, Lady Margot Fenring, Lea Seydoux. As the crowd watches, Feyd participates in a tournament where he faces off against 3 members of House Atreides. 2 of his opponents are drugged, making it easy for Feyd to defeat them. However, the 3rd opponent fights back valiantly before ultimately falling to Feyd's blade. Despite Feyd's anger at being set up, the Baron later decides to groom him as the next ruler of Arrakis, due to Rabban's failures in overseeing spice production and the Fremen. Mohiam and Margot speculate about the potential survival of Paul, known as Muad'Dib, as rumors of his presence spread across Arrakis. Margot seeks out Feyd-Rautha in private and, after initially mistrusting her intentions, Feyd is seduced by her following a Bene Gesserit test similar to the one Mohiam conducted with Paul. Margot subsequently informs Mohiam that she is now pregnant with Feyd's daughter. Irulan continues to question the attack on House Atreides and confronts Mohiam, who reveals the Emperor's involvement and justification for the assault. Meanwhile, a group of smugglers lands on Arrakis, sparking a conflict with the Fremen until Paul recognizes Gurney Halleck among them. After an emotional reunion, Gurney shares his survival story and joins forces with Paul, Chani, and Stilgar. Feeling outmatched by the Harkonnens, Gurney leads them to the Atreides' hidden cache of atomic warheads. In the midst of escalating tensions, Harkonnen troops led by Feyd-Rautha attack Sietch Tabr, resulting in casualties and Shishakli's capture. Despite Paul's reluctance, the surviving Fremen head south to regroup and strategize their next moves against the Harkonnen forces. Paul enters the same temple Jessica had visited in search of the Water of Life, which is extracted from a baby sandworm. Despite Chani's objections, Paul drinks the water and falls unconscious. Like Jessica, he experiences intense visions, including one with his sister Aaliyah. Everyone gathers around to help, and Chani learns that Paul can be revived with Desert Spring tears. She mixes her tears with the Water of Life and revives Paul. He confides in Jessica that he has discovered they are both Harkonnens, making him the Kwisatz Haderach. Fremen leaders convene at the temple to discuss Paul's rise. They propose a challenge between him and Stilgar, but Paul surprises them with a speech, declaring himself the Lisan al-Gaib. Chani argues that the prophecy has enslaved the Fremen. Soon, all Fremen acclaim Paul as their messiah. When the Harkonnens, along with the Emperor Irulan and their Sardaukar forces, made their return, it marked the final showdown between them and the Fremen. The Emperor took decisive action by disabling the Baron Harkonnen with a strategic move, rendering him helpless. Meanwhile, Paul, in a bold move, ordered the launch of warheads to breach Arrakin's defenses. This action allowed the Fremen warriors to take advantage of the chaos and ride the Sandworms, devastating a significant portion of the opposing forces. In a moment of desperation, the Baron attempted to reach the Emperor's throne, but Paul intervened. Revealing a surprising connection by addressing the Baron as his grandfather, Paul ultimately ended the Baron's life by swiftly eliminating him with a knife. As the surviving Sardaukar began to retreat, Gurney engaged in a fierce rematch with Rabban. Their intense duel ended when Gurney decisively defeated Rabban by impaling him with his blade. Paul prepares to confront the Emperor after threatening to destroy the spice supply unless his demands are met. In a dramatic duel with the Emperor's champion, Feyd-Rautha, Paul emerges victorious, but not unscathed. Feyd acknowledges Paul's skill before succumbing to his wounds. To avoid further bloodshed, Irulan agrees to marry Paul as part of his terms for peace. Despite this, Chani, visibly hurt by the turn of events, leaves the scene. As Paul asserts his authority, he faces resistance from some great houses. In response, he mobilizes the Fremen army to assert his power. This sparks the beginning of a holy war, leading to intense conflicts and allegiances being tested. Jessica's words to Aaliyah foreshadow the turmoil that lies ahead. Chani, seeking solitude, ventures into the desert, symbolically calling upon a sandworm for her journey into the unknown. This pivotal moment marks a turning point in the story, hinting at the uncertain and tumultuous future that awaits the characters.